you're not bound to tell it with the same wording every time, as long as the substance is there. And you can leave out details. You can include details that you know from somewhere else. Like if you're talking about Winston Churchill, you don't have just one source. You have other sources for that.
But let's talk about the differences. When we look at the synoptic problem, and for most of us, large majority, Mark in priority. Mark is the first gospel, and Matthew and Luke use Mark as their primary source and supplement Mark. You'd say that's the majority position, right?
Yeah, easily.
95% of scholars, would you say? Critical New Testament scholars?
I'd say probably at least 90%.
At least 90, okay.
Maybe 95.
But even if you go with Matthean priority, you're still... There is so much similarities. All the arguments still apply. You have an interdependence of sources that are used between Matthew, Mark, and Luke.
Yeah,
we see them
Jesus
using
did
themselves.
so many things, John says, that the world itself couldn't contain the books that would be written. So why do Matthew, Mark, and Luke overlap so much when, they could have so many other stories?
Yeah. So, all right, so let's just assume Mark in priority. If a person wants to assume Matthew in priority, they can do that, but the same thing is there. You've got Luke using Matthew, you've got Mark using Matthew.
Mm-hmm.
And we can see how they change their primary source.
Mm-hmm.
Give us an example.
Well, an easy and obvious one is Kingdom of Heaven and Kingdom of God.
Oh,
I mean, Mark always speaks of Kingdom of God.
Yeah.
Matthew, I think there's just 3 passages, 4 examples, something like that, where he keeps Kingdom of God. Everywhere else it's Kingdom of Heaven. And
what do you think was original?
It's a no-brainer that these are the same incidents. Well, Jesus may have been talking about Kingdom of Heaven. Maybe Matthew knew that. But Matthew, I think, is using Mark. And Mark has an audience that wouldn't have any idea what a Kingdom of Heaven was.
Yeah.
So, it makes sense. Mark has Kingdom of God. And Jesus could have spoken of it that way too. Probably did speak of it that way more. John, which may be independent, the couple times John has it is Kingdom of God. So, maybe Kingdom of God was the more common usage of Jesus. But what's the point? Unless you're expecting it to be verbatim, then I don't see the problem with that.
Yeah.
Now, when I first became a Christian, I was converted out of atheism. I knew nothing about the Gospels. And so, first time through, I'm reading Matthew, get to the end of it, very satisfied. Jesus gets crucified, he rises again. Then I read Mark. He gets crucified and rises again. I'm like, how often is this going to happen? I didn't realize, I thought it was going to be all written in chronological order, So, I didn't know, but
and yet he was reading Homer at age 12.
Yeah, so you Christians, you're smarter than some of us. But anyway, no, but I'm Christian now. But so eventually, though, I remember before I went off to Bible college, and this was a fairly conservative, Assemblies of God Bible College, Pentecostal. So before I went off there, I was like, I knew that there were differences among the Gospels, and I wanted to know the Bible so well that if somebody quoted to me a verse, I could not only tell them, okay, well, this particular idea appears in Luke 21, Mark 13, and Matthew 24, Jesus' eschatological discourse, but I could tell them which one based on the variations. Now, I'm not sure I'm that good, but that's what I wanted to be able to do because I knew that there were variations. Anybody who tells the same story, if you tell the story of Goldilocks, or if you tell a historical story, you're not bound to tell it with the same wording every time, as long as the substance is there. And you can leave out details. You can include details that you know from somewhere else. Like if you're talking about Winston Churchill, you know, you don't have just one source. You have other sources for that. So anyway, that didn't bother me.
But they do change some things, like the centurion at the cross,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Truly this was the Son of God.
Mhm.
Is that Mark?
That's Mark and Matthew.
And Matthew?
Although Matthew, it's the centurion and those who are with him.
Okay. And Luke, truly this was a righteous man,
Yeah, this man was innocent.
right? What's going on there?
Well, Luke wants to emphasize Jesus' innocence. You've got that emphasized several times, a number of times. I mean, it's in all the Gospels, but you've got it emphasized more in Luke's Gospel, especially Luke 23. But then also toward the end of Acts, Luke's second volume, you have that emphasized with Paul. And it's a major part of Luke's apologetic. Now, historians back then could write, of course, today we don't like apologists, right? But back then, you had apologetic historians who wrote for apologetic purposes. But just because you have a purpose doesn't mean you're not going to draw on real facts. So Luke is doing apologetic historiography. He's making a case for particular reasons, and yet I don't see a problem with him doing that, because if he's the Son of God, that logically entails he's also righteous,
Yeah.
at least from a Jewish perspective and a Christian perspective. So, Luke is just narrowing it down. If he's the Son of God, okay, here's what Luke wants to emphasize.